to now turn it over to the students themselves. Thanks for coming.
Yay!
Hello everyone! Thank you for coming today. I'm so happy to see you all come and look at our project. So let's start it off. This is Patchwork Pizzeria. My name is Vida Villanueva. I was the technical artist and the student project manager for this project.
And I am Alaina Smith. I am the 3D prop artist and the VFX artist for this game.
Hi, my name is Yuxuan, and I also goes by Linda. I'm the art director and environment artist of the game. We three are also part of the Extra Women Ringling student chapter organization here at Ringling College of Art and Design.
I'm the co-president of the student chapter with Alaina Smith.
And I'm the content creator of XR Women Ringling session, and I also created today's cute poster. Yeah. And then we're gonna introduce a little bit of our professors who supported us through this journey of creation.
So one of our professors is Ana Carolina Pereira. She was the project manager overall, and as well as the Scrum Master and our iterative design professor.
We also worked with Mike Trezza, who was our faculty art director, who guided us through getting a cohesive style for our game.
And Martin Murphy is our virtual reality department head, so he made this collab possible with the Johns Hopkins Children's Hospital.
And then last we have Justin Gast, who was our faculty blueprinting advisor, and he was there mainly to help with the ending process and polishing of all of our blueprinting. So I want to introduce kind of our clients in the project. So our junior fall for VR for Good project, which is something that we kind of do every junior year for Ringling, is we learn to create VR projects that have positive impacts. So it was such a wonderful opportunity that Johns Hopkins partnered with Conquering the Curve and asked Ringling to help create, these immersive experiences that helped with pain management and education for kids who are in the hospital for sickle cell disease.
Yeah, and here we also put some brief introduction of the sickle cell itself. So basically, sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder caused by a defect that causes the production of this like sickle shape red blood cell. And you can see in the image, it would cause like the blood flow to be blocked by sickle cells. So these sickle cells do not live as long as normal cells and can be the cause of numerous symptoms like in the body.
And with this, the goal of our project was to help children be relieved of the pain they might feel due to sickle cell, such as pain or crisis. And yeah, we also have here the bot at the side that has more information regarding sickle cell if you want to learn more about it. So for our game, it's basically a VR pizza making game set in a whimsical cardboard world. It is designed to be playful yet educational tool to help children with sickle cell disease manage pain through interactive exercises. And I'll show you the trailer of the game. Just a warning, it might be a bit loud, so just be prepared for that. I tried adjusting the volume, but
Yeah, that was pretty much our trailers. And here we can see a little bit of creation process of our game. So at first, we talk about what we kind of want all the stations to be, and then based on that, I created this little level design. And based on the level design, then I made this really rough layout of gray box in Unreal Engine to give us a um, better feeling for the size and everything. I also illustrated this little game flow of the rough process. So basically, they follow the custom order first, and then they prepare for the pizza step by step. Prepare for the toppings, make the pizza, do the stove, and then they get feedback from the customer, either a positive feedback or like a confused feedback if they messed up with with the order, and that would influence their tip amount. So basically, each action is designed to correspond with a specific exercise. For example, like spreading the dough serve as a stretching exercise, and baking um, connects to like breathing control because that's pretty important for kids with sickle cell to control their further crisis they might get into, that kind of stuff. So we do want to make sure like our game is very specifically made for those kids with sickle cell, and help them with their health.
So part of our initial process was deciding kind of where we wanted to go with the art style. And so we put together style references and real world references. So for the style references, we knew we wanted to keep it kid friendly and very stylized. So we looked a lot towards like Paper Mario or Yoshi's Crafted World, those types of games. And for our real world references, we wanted to look at like structures that were made with cardboard and how they were put together, and a lot of like kids play items so that we could keep this like kid friendly feel. And something that we thought about when we started searching for this style was that, when these kids are in pain, we felt like they might be nauseous when they look at real food, which is why we decided to go for a more cardboard option so that it wasn't too realistic that it could cause some sort of like nauseous feeling.
That was completely correct. And adding on that, after we decided to use a cardboard style for it, for the style establishment, we were wondering how can we keep it like, because we were thinking maybe plain cardboard might be visually not as interesting. So we're thinking of how can we make it more visually interesting. So I actually came up with this workflow, which is like we made a basic cardboard texture in a texturing software which is called Substance Painter, and then afterwards on top of that, I actually do another layer of stylized color. You can see those like little sketches. I do that in Procreate, and then I combine the two into one to make it like have more different, icons, also color variations to make the scene look more fun. And it was like me and Alaina working together mainly on the assets creation and everything. So to keep us both on track, I also created this little style guide for me and Alaina to be make sure the whole thing, like all the model looks consistent. Yeah. I think also you can see I created this little sauce holder, and you can see Elena created this amazing bottle and this really cute video, also with the napkin box right next to it. And this one's for the stations, because our game is really just you move around different stations. So it's really me and Elena working together. We talked together about what we want for each stations and what functionality we want to make sure they have. So then I first created all the concepts, and then Elena helped modeled and textured for all the stations. And so basically in the design we really thought a lot because we were wondering like, oh, maybe the kids would need some height adjustment, so that's why there's some button and the wheels to adjust the height, that kind of stuff. We also give like different um we also give like different decoration piece and stuff for different stations. Elena can talk more about that.
Yeah, so for the dough spreading station, we thought since it's kind of the initial first like thing, we wanted it to be very fun. And so we decorated it with little chef hats just to give it a little bit of personality. And for the topping station, we added the little icons on the back so that the kids kind of knew what, the options were for this. And we kept it all really like kind of warm and fun and this drawn on feel with it. And we also took into account not only with the height adjustment for the sizes, but we also made sure that with the round design that we have, that kids with short arms, because they're small, are able to reach everything that's on the table without having to move a ton because we wanted it to be very accessible for any type of limitation on where they'd be, whether they're laying down, whether they can only use one arm, things like that. So this was a lot of the thought design that like went into creating these stations.
And yeah, if you're interested, we actually have some of the stations here in this space today. If you're curious, you can also look around and look at our stations. And here are some assets I created. The stove, which is also here today. So basically, the stove was the station where helps the children to exercise their breathing. So basically, there's like two progress bar. One is tracking individual breathes, and the other one is like overall progress. So the kids are gonna breathe with the progress bar, and it's feeling like they're blowing on the fire and help with the baking process of the pizza. And the other one is a little cute spoon holder I created for the sauce station. And here is like we here's like our pizza. We have these like as you can see, we have these like different states of the pizza, like pre-baking just the dough, also like after baking, and also cheese only, tomato sauce only, or combined because there might be like different options. And we also did this dough blend shape. So while like spreading the dough, there's actually different shapes while the kid spreads the dough, and our amazing Vida helped with the blueprinting of making this to an interaction, and also to make it super clear for the kids so they're not confused about what they want to do. I also created these like flipbook tutorial animations so the kids are not confused about what they want to do for each station, and these were just like loop and play for the whole time so they can always like reference to what they are gonna do for it. And also for the style wise, we do want to keep it like still stylized and also avoid the real greasy texture. That's why we went for these kind of like clay looking, but also combined with some like colored pencil, that kind of style texturing for the pizza.
So for some of the interactions, we wanted to keep in mind some of the stuff that the client requested, which was mainly stretching to help with blood flow through the body, as well with breathing exercises, as many kids don't like using the little tools that they have within the hospital to breathe. So we thought this would be a more fun way for them to do these exercises. So within the game, we have five stages of creating the pizza, which is the dough spreading, which requires the stretching of arms, the sauce and cheese that players can just put any amount of cheese and sauce they want. The toppings, which is where the players can decide if they want to do the correct order or not, and then it will lead to the client's reaction at the end on whether they will be satisfied with the order or confused. We didn't want the kids to be getting negative reactions from the clients or feel negative about the game if they got something wrong. So rather than making the clients upset, we just make them kind of confused, but they'll keep getting a reward for it. As for the baking of the pizza, we have two bars. One is a bar that goes up and down, which helps the player time their breathing. And then on the top bar, we have it's for how long they need to breathe for, how many times they need to do the rounds of breathing. And at the end, it's just slicing just to end up the whole cycle of the game.
I forgot to open my microphone. And then here's the character randomization part. Cause for like this piece of game, a really important part is like we want to add some replayability to the game. So we want there to be different customers, different orders. So me and Vida really work together on this, and I'm in charge of the character creation part, and also with some like complex material creation. So to randomize the character for like different age groups and different genders, I all created like 3 different character designs. And as you can see in the image showing the clothing part and the dress or like pants part, like each one fits into each other. So which allows the same character to randomize in different clothing each time. I also created these like RGB mask as texture to Unreal Engine. So I created this system where the color of the clothing, the jewelry, the dress, the pants was also randomized each time. So it's always giving like some new feeling to to the player. They're gonna see like, oh, the same character with different clothing or different characters in general. And I also created like 3 different uh emotion versions of each character. So there's gonna be a default emotion where they orders, and then if you get the wrong order, it's confused. If you get the right order, it's satisfied. And Vida did this bring this amazing blueprinting to the characters, so they would like loop and also come with different orders. And I was in charge of making the emotion switch and the material switch in the coding and blueprinting logic.
And with this, we also wanted to create more representation for the players, as the main demographic will be from African descent, which are the most affected by sickle cell disease. So we wanted to just represent like a variety of ages and genders just to show themselves within a game.
And so through this like amazing process of getting to create this game together, we submitted it for our school's own juried. It's like an annual Best of Ringling juried exhibition, and it was juried by Beth Harrison, who is a art director at the Dali Museum. And we actually won Best Art Direction for it, as well as our school's President's Award to represent our major. And another really, really exciting thing was we got highly commended for the 2025 Immersive Media Game of the Year Rookie Awards. And so here are some in-game renders of the final product of the game. And to the left, we have a picture of all of us at the awards with our president, and a picture of us at Johns Hopkins showing the game to some playtesters from the hospital. And at the bottom left, we actually have some prelim stuff from when we were pitching our pre-pro to our faculty and professors. Thank you guys so much for letting us talk about our project to you guys.
Amazing.
That was really, really incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yeah.
Questions?
Mhm. So good, so good. Will you all take some questions?
Of course,
Of
of course.
Yeah.
I can jump in with some comments first. I just complimentary all the way. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, you guys thought of everything, and it was really It's inspiring, and just I love the way the textures. You know, I was looking at the dough, and I'm like, you didn't just splash a color of beige on it. And I think at one point you mentioned it looked greasy, and I was like, yeah, like looks greasy. You really went into full detail. But I love I just love the like more of the animations and hand drawn, and just really the rough culture around all this stuff, and the cardboard, and now I'll go around, because when I got here I didn't really know what all of this everything meant, right? And now you've told the story, so now this room holds more of a story for me to explore. I guess one of my questions, and congratulations all around. I think it was an absolutely incredible presentation, and I think it's amazing the real world impact that it's tied to as well. So like, yeah, there's more even to talk about that. But I guess just out of all of this, what is one thing each of you would have done differently in the design process? Now that you've shared it with us, what's top of mind right now that you are like, I wish we did that different? And I'd love to hear from all three of you just on one thing that kind of top of mind that you wish you did different.
I would say that top of mind, I wish that earlier in our design process, it did take a minute for us to kind of come together and fully decide on the art style and get a style guide. And I think one thing I would have done differently is spent a little bit more time earlier in the process getting something a little bit more cohesive. Because while I love the final product and I think it came out absolutely beautiful, I think we could have pushed it a little bit further if we had gotten that just a little earlier.
For me, as the coding wise, I think I wish I would have polished more of it together. We had some restrictions during the semester as we had a hurricane and we had a whole month off. So if I were to do it again, I wish we would start on the coding of putting every single interaction together. That way to just push it more with sound effects, more exercises, just adding more juice to it overall.
Yeah, from my side, it was also because we were really affected by the hurricane because we had to leave campus for quite a long time. But I know like our team originally had talked about some really cool ideas, which I really wish we added in the game. For example, like we were talking about, what if we make some parts of the counter desk customizable? What if we bring in some drawing illustrations from actually kids from the hospital with sickle cell, and we just add it to our game, and maybe throughout the process they just unlock different items and they can just decorate their counter desk and stuff like that. And that's something I think it would be really cool to add in. It was just like it's such a pity that we had to like cut it out of that. But yeah, if I have more time, then I definitely want to add that functionality in.
Thank you all for your feedback. I think, yeah, you learn as you go, but the branding is also really important, especially, I guess, when you're telling a story like this. There's more to think about. It's more than just, a logo and a few colors. You created a brand out of the story. Everything from the pizza boxes to the, to the cardboard stations, and all of the elements that go along with it. There's definitely a lot more in the brand planning to think about than we ever thought about before. So thank you for the lesson in that. Even for myself, I think now we used to not think about as many of these details, but because we're placing them spatial, we're telling stories different, that the brand has to be laid out in some more details than it ever has before. So thank you. Thanks for teaching me today.
Hi, I have a really quick question. First of all, I played your guys' game. It was beautiful. It was so creative. I just love it. I think it's one of the best projects that have come out of Ringling.
Thank you.
What was the most challenging thing that you worked on, or something that didn't go your way and you had some like creative innovation around that?
So I would say that early in our process, we did iterative design, like really quick versions of everything. And like for one of the stations that we worked on, the topping station, for me was one of the most challenging parts of the game to create, because I started with a more of a lever idea during the iterative process, and it was kind of a lot of figuring out what was intuitive to players in terms of how they would figure out to get the different toppings without it being so far away, what would make sense for them to know what to do next naturally. The lever was really hard for people to figure out to randomize the different ingredients. And so it ended up through a lot of trial and error, we ended up with the table where it's in a more wheel and it's next to you and you hit the button and the wheel spins, and it just came out a lot better than the dispenser idea with a lever. And so I think that was a pretty big creative, how do we get it so that our idea is still through, but way more intuitive.
For me personally, it was figuring out the art style and including the characters, because we only had a very limited amount of time to create this project. But in such game like customers, if we want to add some replayability, customer is also a really important part, and we also don't want to make ourselves like over scope. So I was considering, okay, what can make it like keep us in scope, but also adds like different variations of characters. So then I came up with this idea: since we're in cardboard, why don't we just like make the characters also in cardboard, like in 2D? And you can see some of the characters here in this space. It's just like 2D illustrations and really saved us a lot of time. Even though we keep all these like variations, um, it's like fun, but at the same time, it's like it didn't took me as many time as creating all those characters in 3D. So thinking of that process was definitely a challenging part, but I'm glad it turns out okay. Also like the for the style wise, like the cardboard combining with the sketches part. It was like me and Elena at first we were both like trying some styles, and then we kind of like combined our ideas, and we came up with style and how do we keep it not just like the whole place is orange, we still add some like visual interest to it, and how do we control the details, what details can we add, what details like too much, that kind of stuff was also like a challenging part. But then me and Elena really worked together and we figured this out. That's like another a little bit challenging part. Yeah.
And for my part, I think the most challenging part might have been the locomotion. There were multiple iterations of how we wanted the player to move through the stations. There was one of the first iterations was the stations moving to you, but it created some issues within the coding of the pizza and some other things, so we had to ditch it. As well as we tried letting the players move themselves through the stations, but that just created confusion. And we were worried that it might create even some motion sickness in the possibility, as some of the players may not be as experienced with VR or may not feel so well to handle it. So what we ended up with is the players would press a button whenever they are ready to move on to the next station or to the next step of the pizza creation. And it will do like a slight gradient to black and then back to the world as it moves the player around. So it isn't such a hard transition through each of the stations. And I think that really helped with the players not being confused as to where to go or what to do, as they were always in the right place.
That's great. Wow. This is, by the way, this is Karen, and I wanted to say hello to Elizabeth. I'm so glad you're here. Um, and yeah, I'd love to, if you have any questions for the students, we'd love for you to ask something.
It's also okay if anyone else has any other questions or anything curious in general, or just want to walk around to see our assets.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see the assets. And I want to say too that like Julie, I'm just really impressed with what you all did and the ways that you thought about making elements of the game actually helpful to the people who are stricken with the disease and like the breathing. That's so amazing. And you really incorporated this really exemplifies accessibility in design, and that's so important, and it's very often left out. But you all did a really great job with it. And I think the one thing I would like to say that could be fun for you all to try someday if you want to do a different version of it is and I like the thoughtfulness of having not the negative feedback, but just the confusion. That was a really interesting thing. But what about making it where they can deliberately do things that are wrong? And so I'm thinking of games like Job Simulator, or where you kind of want to do things wrong in a way, or I forgot the similar. Oh yeah, in Job Simulator, there's like a line cook version, and part of the fun is when you get things wrong. So, I mean, I know this was for a specific purpose and for a client, but just thinking about how you might take the basic idea and develop it into something else.
That is such a fun way to push it forward, as I know a lot of kids just love sometimes being mischievous in games, especially when they might be in a hospital or in the rooms. They just want to have fun. So that will be a great way to push the project even more, is just letting them do what they want. And I think that would be fun, like eating the pizza if they wanted to, or just completely destroying a station or something. That is a fun idea.
I had a quick. Oh, I see that Elizabeth said something, but I had a quick comment about for the future of like presentation for anyone that's like not Ringling involved, but if there is any media passes for when you guys are presenting the work, when you guys got to go to the hospital and have the kids play, to like insert any like photos or videos, if they allow permission, of course, into the product to be able to show like the user experience and stuff, and like how much fun these kids are having, that they're not like struggling while playing or anything like that, and just kind of like it puts like a nice bow on the entire experience, being able to show, I guess, that feel good client based side of it.
Absolutely. That's a thing we were trying to look into. And I do want to keep that in mind for the future, and for anyone else who wants to present, just keep in mind the pictures, because we were kind of struggling to find the pictures, as we didn't take the pictures ourselves. We had someone else take the pictures, so it was kind of a barrier there. But yeah, we'll keep it in mind.
Do you all want to show us around the stations and where you what you did to create the space? This the way you customize this environment. I think it's so cute, and yeah, I think you did such a terrific job with it. Do you want to kind of give us a little tour,
For sure.
and maybe and in the process maybe talk about what what you did.
For sure. Should we start in order?
Whatever you think is best.
We can start over here by the corner with the little stations and the toppings, I suppose. So for the placement of the models itself into frame, Alaina and Linda did a lot of the legwork as they were the ones who were able to upload the models in here. They were able to find their own models, and I kind of just help stage it around. So,
Yep. This very first station is like the dough station. And if Alaina wants to talk a bit about it.
Yeah, so this is as we mentioned, this is the dough station. This is the first station that the kids come in contact with when it comes to actually creating the pizza. And so we place it kind of in this corner just to, show it off a little first, it catches your eye. But you can kind of see a little bit better that we have this little conveyor belt that this is where the dough comes out of, and it's, green and like fun, and we wanted it to kind of have this like hand drawn thing, like feel to it. So, like as if kids were playing on it. And the little chef hats you can see. We also have a trash button that goes on the stations. It's just if they want to start over in the process, if they feel like they messed up, they're able to go back. Um,
Yep, and here are by the side we can see a lot of the toppings floating in the air. And here is the next station, which is the sauce station. After you have the dough spreaded, it's gonna for some reason the ketchup oh no, the tomato sauce is missing, but you get the general idea. So basically there's a spoon and you get the dough from the previous station would uh get transported here and automatically, and then you put the cheese on top of it, and then you can also put the tomato sauce on top of it with a spoon. And you can see I have this little illustration of guiding. Basically the cheese is like you use your hand, the tomato sauce you use your spoon, that kind of stuff. This is for the sauce station. um do we have the topping station?
I don't believe we have the topping
Okay,
station.
we're missing the topping station, but it's like kind of similar. It's just user will have a wheel to choose different toppings, and then they just put different toppings and different orders based on what order the customer's going for. And this one's like the stove. I had the stove, and you can see there's two progress bars. One is the total progress bar. One is for each breathe in, breathe out. And yeah, I was trying to keep it fun, not make it like only one color, but at the same time keeps the cardboard style. Pretty much. So user would like breathe, and there's this little cardboard fire VFX while it's baking, pretty much. And around here you can also see this little pizza box design we made, which is also in cardboard style with this cute little yellow illustration on the package. Yeah, and we can also on the wall there are some renders of our game, and by the wall you can also see some variations of the different characters of our game of the customers. Pretty much. And this one is a topping station. The tip jar and the ringing bell is not on. It's not supposed to be the topping station, but we just want to kind of show it. So basically, we had this really fun tip jar, and basically, the customers would give like different tip amount based on your performance, and it would you can also like cut the pizza over here at the pizza station. Mm. I believe and you can also see this really cute napkin box Elena created. It's used to place um set dressing in the customer sitting area outside of the working space in the game. Um, I think that's pretty much it of all the assets we got. Oh, and here we have to show this blackboard. Elena, do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, so in our lounge area where the, customers would go to sit in the universe, we wanted to include a creative way to do our credits and give our special thanks that wasn't just generic, like, words coming down the screen, but some way that integrates it into the universe. And so I thought a blackboard would be a great idea as like when you go into like some pizza shops or like little small shops, they kind of have these fun decorated like blackboard menus almost. And so I wanted to use that as the inspo. And so I credited our the school, the our partners. I included us as little drawings as like the employees of the little pizza shop, our faculty, and I also wanted to give like a special thanks to all of our playtesters, as we had a playtester come in about every week to come and test out our game as we were doing our design. So I wanted to make sure that every one of them kind of got recognized for helping us get to the point that we were at. And so we just thought it was a cute way to integrate, really build this universe while also, getting our credits in.
That's completely correct. And I also did this little creation of this today's poster because I really want to incorporate the color purple within the design, which is like the color for our XR woman. So I kind of did a combination of the color purple with our cardboard paper handcraft style, and I also added some of the word we got, like our images and the logo, some assets from our game for today's poster. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we got in today's space.
Very cute, very cool. Yeah, and you said that you all had fun, putting the assets here in frame. Is that right? Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, is this something that you'd like to do again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think set dressing is one of those things that's always I've felt really, really, really fun to do. Take our assets and make a space actually feel alive. And so it was really interesting to get to learn frame and how it works, as well as like how to move things around, get things in places. But I think it was really, really fun to upload our models and then get to put them in here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And did you all train the bot, super smart? I think
We did train it with some of the resources from Conquering the Curve about sickle cell.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So if there's any questions regarding sickle cell, it should be able to answer it. I tried yesterday and it was able to answer some of the questions.
Yeah,
And
I think they can be a little bit finicky if there's just one person in the space. They don't always answer in the voice chat, but sometimes they will in the text. You wanna ask it a question and give it a try? Demonstrate?
let's see, because yesterday, wait a minute. Because I know yesterday I tried it with the text. So let's see if it, what is, let's see, what is sickle cell?
She's thinking.
She's thinking.
Oh, I was texting her, and the super smart bot was answering me. It's a genetic blood disorder where red blood cell becomes missharpened, resembling a sickle. This can lead to very health complications, including pancreatitis, enema, and increased risk of infections. Yay!
All right, cool. Yeah, wow. This is amazing. I hope that people get to come and visit like on their own time and look at this. And for when you're at MIT Reality Hack next week, this is one way that you can show off the game. Maybe is bring somebody in here, you know, and if you don't get to show them the game itself, you could maybe bring them in here and have them and show them around this space.
That would be cool.
Yeah. You definitely should do that. I'm gonna try again to ask her something.
Hey, how
Hi.
can I help you today?
Oh,
Can you tell me what sickle cell anemia is? Tell me what sickle cell anemia is.
Sickle cell anemia is a genetic blood disorder where red blood cells become rigid and shaped like a sickle. This can cause pain, infections, and complications due to reduced blood flow. Want to know more about its symptoms or treatments?
Yes, please.
Sickle cell anemia is a genetic blood disorder where red blood cells become misshapen, resembling sickles. This can lead to pain, anemia, and various complications due to poor blood flow.
Yay! Okay.
Yeah. You do have to press the speak button above her head. I did that, and I don't know if that makes if you were doing that, but I'm glad it worked.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, I was
Definitely.
worried. I was
Yeah.
doing it wrong.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yay!
This is so good. Wow, congratulations, you all. Really, really impressed. And I'm so glad that I'm going to get to see at least a couple of you next weekend at the Reality Hack.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm so excited to see you once more and catching
Yeah.
up.
Of course.
Okay. Well, let's see. Is there anything else anyone has to say or to ask, or shall we close this out? Jenna, would you like to say anything to close out the event?
Sure, I can say a few words if someone wants to also add in anything. But thank you all for coming and helping support and show your love to the student chapters, especially the Ringling division who presented here today. And I look forward to what other work we're going to be able to see. I think you guys talked about having more plans for Natasha being able to speak and other
Yay!
groups. And it's so exciting that thank you for the Extra Women team that was able to join in today and help give feedback. And it's just an incredible event of being able to bring professionals and students together into such like an intimate space and everything. And yeah, I look forward to working with everyone more and making sure that more of these events are happening. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, everyone. Well, I guess that's a wrap. Well done. Yay.
Yay!
Yay! Happy
Yay!
weekend, everyone.
Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
Happy
Thank you all
weekend. Have a
so
great
much.
night.
Congratulations to you all.
Thank you so much.